Let's go! LSU football fans, we continue Max Johnson week with a video about third down philosophy. Over the next couple of days, we're going to talk about, to me, the most important coaching change Ed Orgeron has to make in order to really open up the Jake Peetz offense. Because what's really fascinating was LSU led the SEC in 3-and-outs last year. Today, I want to focus on one specific thing on third down that I think could change the LSU offense for next season. All this comes down to is third down philosophy, okay? So the game stopped here because Austin Deculus went out with an injury, and we are here. It is 3rd and 4, 6:14 left to go. We're up by 3, and we were just up by 10. We gave up a touchdown here, LSU, and now Florida's got some momentum going. We got to keep the offense on the field to give our defense a break. Now, before we continue, I still stand by that this performance by Max Johnson was by far the best quarterback performance of any QB last season, and for a lot of reasons. Why? Because of things like this. So earlier in the half, Jason Hines, for the betterment of the team. I felt bad for Jason Hines. He got injured, but he was having a rough game and a rough season. And what happened was Cam Wire became the right guard, and Austin Deculus was the right tackle. So Austin Deculus gets hurt, and now the right side of the offensive line is a true freshman here, Marlon Martinez, and your right tackle is Cam Wire, who had been playing right guard at a high level. So now, as a play caller, you have to understand that more than likely, Florida is going to bring a blitz. And here's something I really like about Austin Deculus. He is there firing up the guys. That is a good leader. That's why you have guys like this on your team. That's why he was a representative at SEC Media Days. And we could talk about Austin Deculus. Some of you are concerned about him guarding Max Johnson's blind side. But here we go. So what we're going to do is go on ahead and run this play in slow motion. And what LSU decides to do is send this guy into motion. Now, this is a 3rd and 4 in your own territory. So what does LSU decide to do? They send Coy Moore into motion. Notice no one runs with him across this formation. So what can that tell Max Johnson? That they're more than likely going to play zone coverage on the back end. So it looked like a blitz was going to come from this side. Instead, they back out. And a delayed blitz is what eventually gets home and sacks Max Johnson. We give up a sack, and now we are forced to punt. All right. So what happened on this play? Well, once again, it is 3rd and 4. You don't need many yards to pick up a first down, and this looks like this was on the LSU offensive line, when in actuality, the LSU offensive line actually blocked this play well. This comes down to a huge third down decision Jake Peetz is going to have to make going into this next season regarding how he wants to use his personal protector. We had been rotating Chris Curry and a few others in there, and now we have Josh Williams as the running back. So what happens here is pre-snap, Ventrell Miller is coming on what's called a green dog blitz. And what a green dog blitz basically means is if this personal protector stays in, he's coming. And it may not even been a green dog. It might just have been a delayed blitz. So instead of Josh Williams staying in, he is instructed here, or he blew this assignment, whichever way he's coached. He's instructed to slip right here. And you notice Max Johnson is waiting for this play to develop backside. But you notice here, the LSU pass protection is perfect. Liam Shanahan passes this off. Marlon Martinez, good rep here. Okay, notice this is Martinez in the game, not Anthony Bradford. He might have been hurt. I'm not sure. Liam Shanahan passes this off, and now he's looking backside to help out. Maybe Ed Ingram should have passed this off, but no, he should stick with them when he's going to his interior. And now we got an unblocked blitzer here. He stays in. Guess what happens? Okay, we get sacked here. Maybe you can fit that ball into Coy Moore. Maybe this ball should have been thrown right now. I also want you to see this right here. If we get decent protection, okay, if this blitz is coming from this side, slip it right here. Get a first down. But Max Johnson is waiting for this. This is a really long developing play for a 3rd and 4. If we keep this protector in, guess what? We have receivers that are getting open. Jarae Jenkins, who had a phenomenal game, is drawing this double coverage, and this is why I like Jarae Jenkins so much. Highest ADOT on the team, average depth of target. He really stretches the field. But notice, if we get decent protection here, we would have not only had one guy wide open here on the backside, we would have had 2, okay? You see that right there? That's Kayshawn running wide open there. So whose fault is it? You guys saw all of that. Well, it's the 3rd down philosophy. It's this aspect of it. That's why I use that term, 3rd down philosophy. It's this, okay? You have to decide as a coaching staff and as a quarterback. This is where all this work with all the analysts. And, Max is going to be getting all the first-team reps, so this will be a good time to really focus in on this aspect because LSU struggled with the running back-quarterback communication. Now, full disclosure, I don't know if Josh Williams was supposed to stay in and block, but here's the thing. If he doesn't stay in and block, okay, if his job is to leak out to the left and it's a 3rd and 4 and everybody is back, well, guess what? Yes, all these other routes open itself up, but you have to understand that on a long developing route where you only need 4 yards and this guy's leaking, this ball needs to go right here, okay? Or what you have to do, 3rd down philosophically, is if you want to just trust your wide receivers to get open, which they did on this play, you have to tell this running back to stay in when there's a blitzer coming this hot, okay? Now, first lesson that I've learned from this 3rd down philosophy, and I don't know if you guys feel the same way, is we have to determine what we want to do with our running backs in protection. Because if he stays in and blocks this guy, we have not one but 2 options that are wide open. Or if he doesn't stay in to block, we should be dinking this down because it's only 3rd and 4. And even if he doesn't get the first down, which he would in this situation, we would have a manageable 4th down to go for it and stay on the field. That's why last week we did that John Emery pass protection film study, because this aspect of the LSU offense was something that really hamstrung LSU's offense all last season on 3rd down week. Boom. So this is just part 2. And part 3, we're going to show you tomorrow how LSU decided to keep Josh Williams in, and you're going to see what actually happened when they kept Josh Williams in to pass protect against Florida. And it's not the shoe throw play we'll talk about. So today I want to show you this play, and it kind of coincides with what we were just talking about. Instead of 3rd and 4, this is 3rd and 6. LSU is deep in their own territory, but we're down by a ton. So it's 2 down territory for me here. So the reason why this is so key is because the first thing, what makes this play very special, is that this is actually going to be your starting LSU offensive line. So Cam Wire at left tackle, Ed Ingram at left guard, Liam Shanahan at center, Jason Hines at right guard, Austin Deculus at right tackle. Now, that's not how I would have line them up next season. You got to tune into live streams to hear how I think the offensive line should line up. But still, this is how it's probably going to be, and that's what's important. So let's go on ahead and run this play. This is a 3rd and 6. And you'll see here, you don't see the 3 wide receivers to the right of the formation, but you see essentially Owen Papo, their arguably best linebacker, comes through basically unblocked. And Myles Brennan, while he is a good athlete, you see here he's not Cam, he's not Michael Vick. I don't know if he's a Joe Burrow level runner, but he gets brought down. Either way, this is unacceptable, okay? Max Johnson's mobility made this play from turning into a disaster, and I still think LSU should have gone for it when you're down by a ton. I don't like giving up. But anyway, here's the key thing. We've got to be better about blitz pickup, and this brings the question, should LSU keep a personal protector instead of always leaking your running back out to the left. Once again, on tomorrow's film study, we'll show you a few plays where LSU did keep the guy in, and it still was a struggle on third down. So this is a very exotic look. You're not going to get this that often, so Auburn overloads this side of the line of scrimmage, and believe it or not, the communication amongst these three right here was actually pretty good. So this is obviously really good IQ here from Hines and Deculus, and Hines is a guy who made a lot of mistakes last season, but this is actually really good stuff. So Liam Shanahan knew that more than likely one of these guys is going to twist inside, so he steps right and properly anticipates someone coming through this A-gap. So the right side of this formation actually picks up the blitz perfectly. Really, the left side of the offensive line is a problem here because here's the thing. You got two guys to worry about. There's no one on your play side A-gap. If you're Ed Ingram, of course, this guy could come through this A-gap right here. But more than likely, these two are going to play some type of game, okay? He's going to twist here and this guy go inside. We just have to make sure we pick up these two guys, okay? You should block your interior gaps and then work your way out, okay? So essentially, as a guard, the most important gap you block is this one. As a tackle, the most important block is your interior gap. So no matter what, we don't want guys coming unblocked here, all right? And as an offensive lineman, if you know that guys are coming unblocked off the edge and you know that this running back is going out to the flats, we want that because that means Max Johnson will immediately see that and dink it off right here. So the most important thing, and this is something that the LSU offensive line continued to make mistakes about, and why I was excited that James Craig, lost his job, is that we never made this adjustment, okay? And a lot of you probably remember this play from our film study where Jason Hines, basically the same thing, what you just saw right here at the Auburn thing, with this running back running out to the right here, it opens yourself up for exotic blitzes, okay? So Jason Hines right here has a 3-tech. He should be picking up this A-gap blitzer. Austin Deculus does block down, but this is the thing. You always block your interior gap first. And this should have been an easy read because Liam Shanahan has a 0-tech over him. He is blocking this guy 1,000% of the time. So Liam Shanahan needs to let Jason Hines know, hey, if this guy comes through this A-gap, you pick him up. Let Liam and Ingram know, if this guy comes through this gap, you pick him up. And Dare Rosenthal, you block down, okay? But instead, kind of like we just saw with the Auburn game, we allow this guy to go unblocked. It's a 17-14 game. Myles Brennan's first read is to see if someone's coming off hot. If they do, we're going to throw this really quickly to Ty Davis Price. They don't. They sit back in zone. So his second read is right here to Jontre Kirkland underneath. It's not there. So Myles Brennan was right to work backside, but because this guy came unblocked right up here through the middle, guess what happens? We would have had not one, but two easy throws for a touchdown. Trey Palmer here, Dre Jenkins here. So you see why, figuring out if keeping the running back in is going to be a key thing for this LSU offense. And, let's go back to the Auburn play. We'll touch back on this in just a second. But once again, touchdown. And instead of a 17-17 game, it's a 21-17 game because, of course, LSU decided to settle for the field goal. LSU simply just could not block these delayed exotic blitzers, okay? And Ed Ingram, as you see here, he stepped way too heavy. This 4-eye technique did a good job drawing. You see, he kind of hesitated right here, a little hesitation. That was a bad little hesitation thing right there for me. But he did a little hesitation to draw Ed Ingram out. You notice this A-gap becomes way too wide, okay? So once he saw that this guy was going here and Cam had him, he should have immediately felt this, but you see, he just stepped way too late. And right here, you need to dive, just launch yourself into this guy. You've got to get a piece of him, okay? Even if you get a piece of him here and you just hit him as hard as you possibly can, guess what? You're knocking him off, and Max Johnson would be able to just step up into this space and make a run for a first down, especially if they're in man coverage. Okay, Joe Burrow was really good at that. But when you allow a guy such a free run up the A-gap, Max doesn't even have the opportunity to step up. And he does one of these spin moves. Russell Wilson, this is his favorite thing to do to evade pressure. But here's the thing. If we pick this up, Max actually reads this perfect, okay? He sees that this running back is drawing this coverage. He also sees that he has man-to-man, one of our best athletes, AG2. No longer one of our best athletes. I know it's a sore subject, but still, it's important in the design of this play. Max sees that they're single high deep. So, stop it right here, okay? If we would have picked this up, Max would have probably sat in this pocket. He actually finds the matchup he likes. He likes this matchup, but he sees this guy coming hot. But watch what happens. Boom. Eric Gilbert creates separation. All you got to do if you're Max Johnson, if you had decent protection, if Ed Ingram just gets a piece, we would have had this for an easy first down. Okay? We also potentially could have hit a drag route right here. It would have been tight. We also had Terrace. You can kind of see it right here. I didn't show you the other angle. Terrace on a drag. But you see, this just gives us no chance. So, if we can't block the late blitzers out of this, you got to keep the running back in. Okay? Or you just got to throw it hot on 3rd and 6 when you know you can go for it on 4th down when you're down by a lot. Which is what tomorrow's film study is going to be. So, I just love this photo right here. Max Johnson in the swamp running. You saw it a little bit earlier. And, man, this guy had some guts to play as well as he did in his first year. And, it's interesting that, we've talked so much about running backs catching the football out of the backfield. And last week with the John Emery film study, we talked about running backs being better personal protectors. But today was another layer to it. When should we personal protect and when should running backs go out on a route? Here's the thing. It's more than just running backs personal protecting. It's just communicating and understanding what needs to be done when and where. Which obviously in 2019, LSU had the perfect balance of both of those things, whether it was Clyde catching the football out of the backfield against Alabama or him personal protecting on 3rd and 17. So, it's very important to get that aspect of this offense down pat. And there is some really good news. Jake Peetz, in the limited practice footage that we saw, he was working a lot with the running backs and the quarterbacks, getting that communication down pat. And also, Kev Faulk, the running backs coach, worked with Tom Brady as an actual player in this aspect. He's one of the best pure 3rd down backs in the history of football. That's why he's a New England Patriots Hall of Fame member. So it is very interesting to see if LSU is going to get that worked out going into next season. But as we said, this was just the first part about 3rd down philosophy. Tomorrow will probably be the most important video we do before the season, okay? There is something Ed Orgeron needs to do. And we showed you the stat a little bit earlier that LSU led the SEC in 3-and-outs. And on tomorrow's video, I actually spoke to a high-level defensive coordinator about this design flaw that LSU has with, 3rd down plays. And we'll get into that tomorrow. That's why you got to subscribe and, make sure you check into everything. Obviously, we did Max Johnson Part 1. That video is floating in your face right now about his ability to run and how it opens up holes in the running game and the passing game. It is Power Hour LSU. Boom! I think we are doing salmon tonight. Garlic parm. Liz,